Hey, Facebook, it's Sarah McLaughlin from Synergy Behavior Solutions joining you today for part of our new solution series that we have decided to do with our trainers here. So, what the idea is of our solution series is to give you some simple solutions to very common problems, things that we know work well for most of our clients, and things that are easy to implement for you. So that's why we call it the solution series. We don't want, sometimes simple is best. Keep it simple, as they say. So today we're going to talk about the 1, 2, 3 game from Leslie McDevitt of the Control Unleashed fame. If you are even slightly interested in dog behavior and learning more about training, I cannot recommend her books enough. The Control Unleashed puppy program is excellent. And then also her pattern games book, which is what this game comes from. We use her games all of the time with so many of our clients and patients. It is a lifesaver. If you've heard of Look at That, thank Leslie McDevitt. If you've so many other things. So we're going to talk just about the 1, 2, 3 game today. I always joke that it's a game that people are very inhibited to play because we don't like to cause attention to ourselves when we're out with our dogs, especially if you have a dog with behavior problems. Hey, Mallory, welcome. And so so with this game, you're going to have to let your inhibitions down a little bit because you're going to have to count out loud. And yeah, the neighbors might think you're a little crazy, or people in the park might think you're a little crazy, but it doesn't matter because it is magic and it is well worth people thinking you're a little crazy counting to your dog. This is one of those games that people, I think, dismiss also because it's so simple. And it is the game that changes so many clients' lives with their dogs. So, how simple is it? It's so simple, I'm not even going to actually demonstrate today. So I don't know if you guys joined me last week for my live about chin targets, but there's a dog screaming in the background, and that was that lump that's over there. That's Rizzo, my old dog. And so we're just going to let her sleep, and I'm not going to demo today because the game is truly that easy. So what is it? What do we do? You are going to count out loud. 1, 2, 3. And at 3, you are going to give your dog a treat or your cat. This is actually a great game for cats too. And or horses, actually. I know somebody's working on their horse with this game. With that number 3 and the treat given, there is no behavior needed. You are going to give that treat no matter what. It is not contingent on behavior. Let's say that again together. The treat with number 3 is not contingent on behavior. All right, great. We all understand that. They don't need to sit. They don't need to look at you. They don't need to be walking even next to you. It doesn't matter, okay? If they're not eating, that does matter, okay? And we do have to work on that. Hey, Stacy, great to see you guys too. Hope things are going well with training. This would also be a great game for you if we didn't do it in our sessions. Um, so the so with this game, so you're going to count it loud. 1, 2, 3, give a treat. 1, 2, 3, give a treat. You can do this walking. You can do this standing still. You want your dog to learn that one, I think of 1 as an attention getter. 2 is a what's going on. I really should start paying attention because they know that 3 is a predictability that a treat is going to come. So where do we use this? I think my most proud version of using this was one of our human reactive dogs who needed to go into the veterinary setting. And we use this to get him in and out of the vet office without having to think. The reason why it helped him is he knew when the treat was going to come, that predictability. You guys have heard me talk about predictability. I'm obsessed with predictability. That's what this game is all about, predictability. They know when the treat is going to come. So we use 1, 2, 3 going in and out of the vet clinic. He knows when the treat is going to come. He knows what's going to happen. I've used this for teaching loose leash walking. So a dog who's pulling, we actually start it without a leash and we work on 1, 2, 3, just walking around the house, and the dog starts to learn, oh, 1 is happening, 2 is, oh, 3 is going to mean a cookie. I better get a treat. So often we see with initial loose leash walking with our dogs that people wait too long to reward. They actually wait until their dog pulls, then their dog checks back in, then they give a treat. And the dog, most dogs, learn this very great game of I hit the end of my leash, I pay attention to my person, I get a treat. And it becomes this great cycle that they think that's what they're supposed to do. So the 1, 2, 3 game interrupts that habit and gets them focusing on you. I also use it in just standing still. If your dog is maybe nervous about a situation, you can just stand still and count 1, 2, 3 and give them that treat. With all of these, you can also start to lengthen the time between, it doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3 cookie. It can be 1, 2, 3. I've also had situations where we thought we could lengthen the time because maybe nothing was going on in the environment, there was no triggers, and we do 1, 2, 3 because, oh my God, car popped up and the dog is going to bark and lunge at that car, whatever the situation may be. So it doesn't have to also be, it doesn't have to be timed consistently apart. You're using this as a attention getter predictor, attention getter predictor. I know that that word means I'm going to get a treat. And it's super powerful for the dogs. The I think Leslie started it. Okay, I'm talking for Leslie now. Leslie used to do a lot of agility. I'm not sure if she still does. She has twin children now. Um, but a lot of her games came out of that busy, chaotic agility trial situation. And I could very much see how this game would be helpful in a performance situation where there's lots of chaos going on and you're trying to get your dog to the ring and you need this to have them stay connected with you from your crate to the ring gating. This game is great for that. So we talk again about that predictability. So dogs feel comfort, as do we, when we know something good is going to happen to them. And so that's where that predictability of this game comes in handy. One of the places I have not yet used this game is I do use it with cooperative care, but not when actually doing something to the dog. So I may use it in a cooperative care setting of getting them into position. I may use it to walk in and out of the vet office, things like that. But I have not yet, and I say yet because we might do it for some dog, I have not yet used it before giving an injection, let's say. It's actually part of our discussion tonight in our injection training class. Is this a game that would be helpful for your dog? I think about when a person gets a shot, if you know it's going to happen, sometimes that's good, but sometimes you tense up and go, this is going to be really hard. I don't want that to happen. So the predictability, is it going to be helpful or not for your dog in that type of situation? It depends. We're going to have to train it and play with it and see if it works. The reason why I say is it magic is also there's lots of dog trainers that have dismissed the 1, 2, 3 game. I remember seeing it initially and being like, okay, that's interesting. I can see some uses for it for some of our patients. And then you start using it. And then you see how easy it is to work. And then you see how many situations you can use it. And that is why it's magic. You don't need a marker signal. 3 is your marker signal. You don't have to have it contingent on behavior. Everybody can count to 3. One of my clients actually refers to this game as her counting meditation game. And so when she has a reactive dog, and when out on walks, she herself would get very anxious and nervous about situations, and she would start doing the "it's okay" game, which I have learned many years ago that "it's okay" quickly teaches your dog that "it's okay" means another dog is coming, get ready to be reactive. Before I was a dog trainer, I taught my husband's dog, reactive dog, that trick. So the 1, 2, 3 game gave her something to say to her dog, because she really was a person who liked to talk a lot. And it gave her something to say to her dog without getting into that habit of going, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, and raising her voice and getting more anxious. She just learned that it kept her grounded also. So she could just calmly 1, 2, 3, give the treat. 1, 2, 3, give the treat. So simple, yet so powerful. So I know we have a couple people watching and joining us. Has anybody used the 1, 2, 3 game in their training? Does anybody have questions? Have you seen it work, not work? I'll sit here and chat a little bit while you guys talk, if anybody wants to put any comments in. So it might snow today in Portland. Did you know that? They freak out here. I'm from Chicago. Snow, I didn't think was a big deal. And then I moved here during the Snowmageddon year of 2016-17, and I have a great respect for snow now in Portland. It is, they do not salt here. They do not have snow removal equipment. And it took me 5 hours to get home from Northwest Portland to Southwest Portland. And Robin Harris, who just jumped on, she knew me back then and totally understands how freaked out I've gotten. All right, so Mallory mentioned that 1, 2, 3, the power of predictability. Yes. Oh, and thank you for reminding me, Mallory, that the power of predictability is a webinar that I did for the Pet Professional Guild back in the fall, and I'm actually going to be giving it for Synergy at the end of February. It is on the website. You can go ahead and register for it. There's actually examples of the 1, 2, 3 game in that talk, so definitely it's a great one. And Stacy, we didn't cover it in your sessions with Molly, but great. This is a super easy one for you guys to use. I think it would be really helpful out on walks for her. And then Christine, I think that's my problem too. My pup senses my anxiety when we see triggers approaching. There's no way your dog cannot sense it. Even if you feel like you're being like cool to the max, your heart rate goes up. Your dog can tell that. You start sweating a little more. Your dog can tell that. Your dog's noses are so in tune to every little bit, and they're so much more powerful than ours. They completely can tell. They can tell if you're holding your breath. They can tell so many things like that. So I think that's why, like I said, this a client calls it her meditation walking game. It's really helpful that way. It just gives you something else to focus on. So Christine, I'd love it if you went and worked on this with your dog and maybe came back and did a comment on it or joined us on February 1st. Lorena and I are having a trainer talk on a Facebook Live on February 1st at 5:30 in the evening, two of us together, so you can come and ask those questions there. Robin's mentioning about the snow. Yes, it was a bit unusual that year, but yes, everybody does freak out about the snow. It's really actually kind of funny, and I do now too. So it's rather amusing. I should maybe count about the 1, 2, 3 game about getting me safely to the office this evening and see if that calms me for myself. Um, in my own house, I have been using this game with my young toller, working on sometimes she gets a little nervous in new situations. We are a competitive nosework team. And sometimes when we show up at a new nosework trial site and there's lots of new dogs and lots of new cars, she gets overwhelmed. She is not reactive outwardly, but her tail goes down and she gets a little suspicious and a little concerned. And so we've been practicing this game in the parking lots at nosework trials, getting her in the mode. As soon as she does her first search, she's like, oh yeah, that's why we're here. I totally remember. And she's fine. But I think this is going to be really great. It's continuing to be really helpful for her in that parking lot scenario and even walking up to the start line for her. So Stacy just made a comment back, agreed, perfect for walks, even when there's other outdoor distractions. Yes. So Squirrel Alley, if you have that in your way, if you have Squirrel Alley in your neighborhood, where as soon as you get close, your dog starts getting a little ramped up, I would do a stationary 1, 2, 3, maybe even a couple repetitions of it and get them focused and settled before you attempt 1, 2, 3 moving through your squirrel alley that you may have. Mallory said it's helpful to change the game up before trying to use it in the real world application. I'm assuming yes, but asking anyway. So what you mean by change it up or charge it up? Sorry, it's trying to read and do Facebook Live at the same time. Yes, you definitely need to charge it up. So I would start in your house where it is boring, nothing's going on, your dog starts to learn the game. and in and around your house, maybe then adding some simple distractions around your house of maybe somebody cooking dinner, or the windows are open and maybe the neighbor dog is barking. Then working on it stationary with your front door open, especially for those of you whose dogs get have a lot of anticipation, anxiety wise, of going out for their walks. So this would be a great one to sit at your front door and work on it with maybe the front door closed, then the front door open, then standing out on your front step. So those are great ways to get them settled and grounded doing the stationary version of 123. So once again, there's so many amazing practical applications: stationary, walking, slow counting, fast counting. It all depends on the situation. It also is easy to transfer. So one of our clients has been working on this with walking into the vet office. With COVID, she cannot go into the clinic, and she quickly taught the vet tech how to play this game and gave the vet tech treats to walk her dog into the clinic. And the dog was like, oh, you know this game too? Maybe it's not so scary to walk into the clinic with you. So super easy. They did stationary 123 right by the client, and then 123 all the way into the building. Made a huge difference for that dog being willing to walk into the building with that strange tech. And super easy. The tech didn't have to learn anything fancy, just say count to 1 to 3 and give my dog a treat no matter what's happening. I think the hardest thing for most people to understand is when you're working on it initially, is the 3 is no matter what's happening. The dog doesn't need to do anything other than breathe and eat the treats. Okay. We sometimes ask way too much of our dogs. Breathing and eating treats some days and in some situations is really challenging for them, and the most we can ask. So if there's not, let me see, it doesn't look like there's any other new questions or comments. If you have any questions or comments about it after you've been watching this, please feel free to put them in our notes, and we are in the comment section, and we will go ahead and respond back to you and give you our thoughts on it. Leslie McDevitt does have a Facebook group called Friends of Controlled Unleashed, and I do highly recommend it. It's a great Facebook group, very supportive for people who have dogs with issues. Really, really high caliber trainers on that group. I'm not saying, okay, I'll say I'm high caliber, and I'm on the group. But a couple of my friends who I greatly respect, and Leslie herself does make comments within the group. So it's a great place to get some more information. Like I said, for those of you who joined me last week with the craziness, I am very proud that Rizzo has politely slept through our whole session today, because there hasn't been treats and I'm not training another dog. I actually believe that Lindy's sleeping in her crate with the door open back there also. So thanks so much for joining me today. Lorena will be talking. Oh, I will definitely put the group link, Christine, no problem. Lorena will be speaking on Thursday. I don't remember her topic, but Thursday at noon Pacific time, join us. Lorena will be talking, I'm sure, about something super fun. And then also, like I said, February 1st at 5:30 at night, we're going to do a Facebook Live together answering questions. So if you have questions, please feel free. You can shoot us to them in a direct message. We're also going to put up a link, and you can put the questions right there. So if we have some questions ahead of time to answer, please feel free. And thank you guys so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions, like I said, put them in the comments. I'm Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions, and thank you so much. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.